So, for those of you that were here, we were talking about smart goal setting. Would anyone like to share with me their goal, please? Yes, young man.
My goal is to play college tennis.
Didn't you share your goal last week?
I did.
Okay, so your goal was to play college tennis. I thought your goal was very good. Anyone? Yes, young lady.
My goal was to make my new serve as fast and consistent as possible.
To make your new serve as fast and consistent as possible. Is that an outcome goal or a process goal?
Process goal.
Process.
Process.
Generally process, right? There is an outcome to it. But so talk to me a little bit about that goal. How were you going to get specific about it?
Practice. Like I just got a new serve. Like it just.
So you've been working on a serve.
Now I'm working on making a serve.
Okay. How are you going to measure that? It's a tough one to measure. How are you going to measure it?
Like how many times I get it in.
Okay. So you can see how many times you get it in. You can set up a test. You can take 20 serves. You can maybe record it in terms of video to see if there's extra speed on it. If you get really fancy, you can have a speed gun, right? Just like they use in baseball and for professional tennis. You can measure it. Okay. What's the time frame you've set yourself for this one?
It's short term and it was like 2 months.
2 months. So you're relatively new. There's some part of the technique that's new, and so you're giving yourself a couple of months to implement this in terms of making the serve more efficient, in terms of going in and perhaps more power. You said, right? Good, excellent. Anyone else want to share one of their goals? I heard plenty from you last week, Dennis. I know about your goals, and I think they're fantastic.
Wimbledon.
And to become world number 1.
Dennis, I get free seats, right?
Can I sit over here? Give me all your money. Right? Dennis, I'll be your
Ladies and gentlemen,
person. I'll be your one good.
quiet, please.
I'll be your like towel.
It's a different person for everyone.
I'll be your water boy.
Okay. Anyone would like to share this? Yes, young man.
Win at least one more tournament by the end of the year.
Okay. So win one more tournament by the end of the year. Good. Can you be more specific about it? Is there anything you could add to that? What type of tournaments are you playing? I mean, a tournament it could be Wimbledon, or it could be
or LNB's boys under 14.
Okay, good. That's much more specific. And obviously measurable. Do you win it or do you not? Is it attainable? Achievable? Yeah. Probably pretty realistic, right? Because you've won tournaments. Have you won tournaments in that bracket before?
Yeah.
Great. And the time is obviously the end of the year. Perfect. There's no specific exact way that you have to address these goals. We've talked about them being very personal to you, but also everyone's trying to achieve something different out of their tennis, right? If you all had the same goals, it would be very boring, and B, it just wouldn't work, because if everyone had the same goal to win the same tournament, or if everyone was trying to win Wimbledon, right? Not all of you can win Wimbledon, I'm sorry to say. Some of you might.
Are you kidding me? I can't.
I will.
I said all of you. I said some of you may. So just go out there and prove that you're the guys or the girls that are going to go and win Wimbledon. All right. So, anyone know what we're talking about today?
Time management.
Nope.
Pressure and expectations.
Someone gave you false information, young man.
I got it.
We're talking about
Pressure and expectations.
pressure and expectations. Before we even start, what are our expectations?
Like things that are like average, I guess. I guess like expected of you.
So expectations. It's interesting you said average, right? Because if you expect to do something, that's average to you. But we're going to talk a little bit more about how people view expectations. It is something that may be expected or asked of you, or something that you think that you're going to be able to do. If you expect to do something, there's no question that you're going to do it. Right? So we're going to talk a little bit about the expectations versus something like goals. So, off on a slight tangent, but it is related, why do tennis players or athletes freak out and get angry when they're playing in competitions? Yes, Dennis?
Because if they're playing like someone they're expected to beat, they'll get upset when they lose a point.
Okay. So when someone's playing against someone and they're expected to beat them, they get angry when they lose a point. That's a fair statement.
Frustration from unforced errors, bad line calls.
Okay. So that it could happen from bad line calls, right? That's out of their control. It's got nothing to do with expectations. But bad line calls might affect a player's attitude. But what was the other thing you said?
Unforced errors.
Unforced errors, right? Making errors. Thank you very much. Making errors that you are not expecting to make. Would you argue that unforced errors are different for different people? Is Roger Federer or Serena Williams' unforced errors the same as your unforced errors? No. So some of the professionals might make what they call unforced errors, which at the moment for you guys are forced, right? Because you're not quite in position or you're not quite able to get the racket prepared in time. So the first thing, if it goes according to plan this week with the video, here's hoping, is I'd like to show you something with some professionals. Do you guys find that funny?
Yes.
No, I do not.
It is not. It is not nice to break your racket.
I find this a
Someone
serious
like
insult to
Daniel
the
has
sport
a
of
racket
tennis.
head, so would easily accept any one of those rackets.
Guys, don't all be talking at the same time. Hang on, listen up.
I do not find that funny.
Guys, listen up.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was designed to be funny. It was designed to make you laugh, right?
It's not funny.
It is funny because they're making a fool of themselves.
Yeah, it's funny.
It is funny.
No.
But to them at that moment, you think they're having a laugh?
No,
Yeah.
they're ragers.
No.
They're ragers. That's a new one.
They should be in this class. They're just unlucky that they didn't get to take this class.
Wait, what? We should.
That's right. They could have done with some mental skills work, right?
Yeah.
I'm still not rapping on the ground.
Especially if your name's Nick Kyrgios.
Yeah. Oh,
Because he's a little bit crazy.
They're all about that.
Very entertaining to watch.
4 brand new rackets.
Yeah.
That was a little bit absurd.
So here's the thing though, right? So even the top level professionals that are normally well behaved have their moments, right? I'm not saying Nadal has. He doesn't
No,
do
he
it.
hasn't.
He doesn't do it very often. Does
No.
not do it very often.
Yes.
Jared, the article you read was fake.
He's never smashed a racket.
That's false, and I'll find proof.
Alright, fine.
All right. But even someone as calm, well, he's not calm, but as in tune with his emotions as Nadal, still has moments where he gets angry. Okay?
He's angry.
Gets angry.
He doesn't. Oh, yeah.
So Djokovic, Kyrgios, Serena Williams. I'll come to you in a second. Federer, when he was younger,
Used to be a hot rat.
used to be an absolute brat on the tennis court. And then he saw video of himself, and he was so ashamed because he was so upset about how he looked and how silly he looked that he decided from then on that he was going to work on his emotions. He still occasionally lets it go. Right? We're all human. But the point of that video, A, was to give you a bit of a laugh, but also it was to show you that these guys react angrily when they lose some points. But we've got to find out why. So, why are those players getting angry? We talked about they're expecting to beat someone and they lose some points. Why else,
Well,
Jeff?
for Federer, he has most times he has the number 1 ranking and
Okay.
the whole tournament title.
So Djokovic, Federer, Serena Williams, they're typically top 2 or 3 in the world. Right, so they have a lot of pressure. Yeah.
Sometimes it just like happens because I've like tried to smash my racket and it didn't work.
Okay. Well, be grateful that it didn't work because we talked in this class before about how expensive those rackets are. And these guys are sponsored so they get free rackets. Last time I checked, you guys don't get free rackets, right? Well, you do because your parents pay for them, but that's another matter. Yeah, right.
Not meeting expectations.
So not meeting expectations, which is the whole point, right?
Yeah.
What expectations do you think that sometimes these pros have, aside from winning points, right?
Like winning, like very, like a differential win, like 6-0-1.
So always having pressure to make a statement, having against the guys they're supposed to beat, winning easily. What else?
Number 1 in the world.
Number 1 in the world.
Team didn't get out of here.
Right?
It's fun.
They like might feel like they're letting like people down because they're like expected to win. And then they're like
Who are these guys going to let down?
Fans.
Fans,
Families.
family,
Their coach.
Themselves.
their
Literally
coaches.
everyone that's
themselves.
Right?
Their gear.
That's
their
pressure, right?
sponsors, their yes, right.
That's a lot of pressure.
Their money.
Like sometimes like an adult won a rolling yards like 12 times. Like if it loses a set, people will make like a whole like pack of money on that.
Yeah,
Like,
so
just
people
make
have become
noise.
very used to these players winning, and then when they don't win or they don't win easily enough, people criticize them.
Medvedev got a little hot.
Yeah, Medvedev got hot. Look, guys, what I'm not saying sitting here today that we have to be saints, that we have to be well behaved all the time, because we're human beings, we get emotional. But what we're going to be talking about in this course is about dealing with those emotions and not letting them get the best of us. But in terms of the expectations, how else on a tennis court, think about yourselves, think about some of your peers, how else, apart from breaking rackets, which some of these guys like to do, how else does that show itself on the tennis court?
Hitting yourself or
Hitting yourself,
hurting yourself. Sorry.
like maybe slapping the leg, right?
Some people like jump. They go like this. That.
Some people might literally be hopping mad, jumping. Good demonstration, thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, Dennis?
Like how I remember Kyrgios once like spit on the umpire's chair.
Yeah, so that's not,
That's good.
it's a good example. I don't like it at all, but yes. So
When they
you know,
kick dirt, they kick dirt.
kick dirt. But think about some of you guys as well. Don't think it's just about the professionals. I've seen
Oh,
you.
I scream.
Thank you. Yeah, screaming. Right?
Oh!
What was that?
Hit the back
Oh,
wall.
that's me.
That was terrible. It's the worst tennis in my life.
What do I do?
Right? Some of you don't scream. So listen,
Some
everyone is
people
different.
I
Right.
talk to myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, listen up. Guys, don't talk amongst yourselves. Listen, because someone might say something.
I take my racket and whack
Someone may say something that's really important to you, so always be listening. Ryan said, hitting the back curtain.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
What about firing a ball into the back curtain?
Yep.
I've seen lots of you do that.
Never done that.
I hit the ball with yo. I was gonna say that.
One at a time, please. If you wish to say something, put your hands up. Yes, sir. Say again. Tanking. Who knows what tanking is? What is tanking? Jack.
Intentionally losing.
Intentionally losing. That is a big time sign.
76ers.
Big time sign of getting angry or not dealing with the expectations. What else?
Crying.
Crying. Absolutely.
Slamming your racket on your shin.
So anything, any violent act with your racket, the ball, your equipment, crying, I've seen that happen. Generally happens when you're a little bit younger, but I've seen adults cry on a tennis court. Yes?
I kick the strings on the racket.
Kick the strings on your racket. I've seen people do that too, right? It's a lot of it's individual to the person, but it's another way of displaying that frustration and that anger. So we've talked about not dealing with expectations, but that's the end result. Why do you get angry, or why do people get angry at that moment in time?
Because they want to win.
Because you want to win, and if you're not winning, you get what?
Angry.
Triggered.
Sad.
Sad, triggered, angry.
Ready to eat.
You messed up, so you're upset.
So you're upset, you're sad. So what do a lot of you guys feel when you play matches before you even start?
A bit anxious,
Anxious?
slightly nervous.
Nervous? Anxious?
No, I know what it is.
So you have anxiety before you play, you might be nervous. They are slightly different. Right? Some would argue that being a little bit nervous before you play a match is a good thing. Gets you ready. Gets the adrenaline going. But if you are too nervous or you have anxiety or you get frustrated in the game, then this is all going to lead to you acting out. Right? Why do we get anxious or nervous before a match? I know we want to win, but what does that really mean?
We want to win the sets.
Well, we want to win, but why is winning important?
It shows that you're better than other people.
Ah, so now we start talking about I want to win because I want to be better than other people in the sport that I play. Right?
Money. Like,
So
fans.
you guys aren't there yet,
But yeah, but like,
but the pros deal with wanting to win more money.
and then like other people like funding them, I guess.
Sure. So I don't think people like Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, Serena Williams, all the top players, Venus Williams, right? I don't think they care about money as much, to be honest with you. I think they're set for life, but they have other things to worry about. But it's the professionals that are ranked 75 to 100 or 150, where they're literally winning and losing is the difference between them being able to afford to travel and play the next tournament.
Like there's some people like that.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Tennis doesn't pay very well unless you're the top ranked players. If you're ranked 150 in the world, you're not making any money playing tennis.
Nothing.
Well, you're making money and then you're spending it. You're spending on hotels, flights, travel, expenses, coaches.
150.
150 in the world doesn't earn you a lot of money.
What if you
That's
win
so
one
good.
tournament? How much money is it? Like approximately. Not like an open, like a normal.
It varies, right? So
ATP
you-
Masters is 500 grand to a million.
Yeah, that's great. But when was the last time someone ranked 150 in the world won a Masters event?
150.
1780.
Never.
I don't know the answer to the question, guys, because it hasn't happened.
A year ago.
Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Guys ranked or girls ranked 150, 200 in the world are playing in futures events where the top prize money is $2,000. So it's a vast difference between being top 20 in the world and being a little bit lower down. So money is extremely important to those that are ranked a little bit lower. So let's take the professional side out of it though, right? We want to win, we want to be better than the person we're playing against. We want to be the best person in an academy. Or we want to be the best person to play, in the Eastern region or in college, whatever it might be. What is the real consequence if you don't win?
Nothing.
Thank you very much.